Welcome to our first video in the Records Research series. In this video, we'll be asking, why is records research so important? Great question. When we do a boundary survey, it's in three stages: the records research, the field work, and the analysis and document drafting. Every stage relies on the stage before it. So if you don't do a good job with records research, you won't be able to do a good job in the field or in the analysis phase. All right, let me tell you a quick story. There are two survey monuments at the same corner. So there's the southeast corner of John Smith. There's one monument here, and there's one monument a couple hundred feet away. In a survey report, a surveyor says, I chose Monument A because there was no records for Monument B. Well, I went to the courthouse, and within 10 minutes, I found 50 pages of records for Monument B. Uh-oh, we've got a problem. Not me, the other surveyor's got a problem because he's put in writing that there were no records for this monument, but there's actually a ton of these records. This is a classic mistake from the records research perspective. Now, how about this? John Smith in Georgia is hired to survey a property. He goes to the courthouse online. He finds the lot and block of the property. So he finds the four boundaries and surveys it, goes home, gives the client the survey. The easiest $1,000 he's ever made. But wait, there's more. There was actually a boundary line agreement that moved the boundary over 10 feet about 20 years after the subdivision was created. So now the rectangle which John Smith has surveyed is actually over here. And the client has built their house in the wrong location. Another example of poor records research. And these are two actual cases that I've worked on. So why is records research so important? Because the conveyances define the property, starting at an iron rod, commencing at a 4x4 concrete monument. The point of beginning, also a 12-inch oak stump. All these things are beginning calls in a meets and bounds description. And if you do not have the deed, the plat, the previous map, all of these things, you would have no idea where to begin your field survey. And if you got to the field and you found monuments, maybe they're important because they're in a conveyance, or maybe they're not so important because they have no dignity. They've got no reference in the conveyances. So in essence, the records research is incredibly important because it helps us understand the size, the shape, the location, and the monuments that define a property. And that property could have changed, been split, all kinds of different, changes over the decades. So it's important not to just get the beginning deed and not just to get the vesting deed or the most current, but to research the entire continuum of the property conveyance timeline and to understand what has happened with this property over the decades, centuries, whatever you're working with. It is a lot of work. And the research phase can take days, weeks, sometimes months if you have to request documents from local governments or other sources. And the documents could be in a variety of places. It's not easy, but it's got to be done properly if you're going to locate the boundary of a property.